Back on the BVarsity Live Super Show. I hope you like the new intro that our producer John Farron came up with. Very cool. Even got water polo in there this year.
I made sure of that.
You did, huh? You're a man of many talents. Okay, we are live now with East High coach David Fanucchi, one of our old friends, good friends on the show. Been around quite a while now. Different Kern County locations, doing a few different things. Year 2 at East High now for your coach. And you said during the break a little bit, this is a young team. This is a team where you're going to have to learn on the fly a little bit.
We are. It's definitely a work in progress. You know, we have 10 seniors back who were part of last year's varsity football team. And so out of our about 50-man roster, we have 10 returning seniors. And then a few of those played a lot of minutes last year. So we're going to be very young. So we're looking at those seniors who have a little bit of experience, and then a lot of juniors and even a few sophomores.
So next year we'll be talking about the veteran East High Blades, but that's next year. You got to get through the growing pains first. I'm looking at last year's stats. They're not going to do me a whole lot of good because Ben Flores is gone, because Carrillo is gone. The great running back you had who was 800-yard rusher. Who are the guys who step into these roles? Is there a guy up from the JV, maybe a guy who's buried in the depth last year, who you can hang your hat on a little bit at this stage?
Well, at quarterback, it'll be last year's JV quarterback. Julian Herrera is stepping in, has done a great job in the offseason, has worked very hard, and did very, very well in our summer program, the passing league, passing tournaments, and those types of things. So Julian has come a long way. He's going to be our quarterback. At running back, we're going to start with a guy who is one of our few seniors that are back. It's Shondell Ross, who, again, played in a backup role last year. Again, one of those seniors who's really taken advantage of his senior year, and he understands that his time is limited, and had, a tremendous offseason, and we're going to look to him to carry the ball for us a lot.
I assume you kind of knew when you take the job at East, you look at the roster and say, okay, it's great I got seniors this year, but next year we're going to be real young. Did you start to prepare for that at some point last year and try to get the guys extra reps, try to get them into fourth quarters of games? I mean, can you do anything like that as you look forward?
Look, you mean from last year looking into this year?
Right.
You know what? Not really. We were just kind of focused on last year's team and trying to develop them and do the best that we could. We hit a little bit of an injury bug around midseason, and that forced some guys into some more playing time. And so, every year is different. While the program is always in view and we're always looking at the big picture, last year we were just trying to get through last year, and this year now we're building and moving forward.
Now, year 2, and I know you've been at different programs and sort of been a part of a building process before. Do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel entrenched at East now?
Oh, I do, definitely. The whole atmosphere is different this year compared to last year, and after being able to spend an entire offseason with them, that's made a big difference. And so, that we've risen the level of expectations. The kids understand it. They've worked hard to reach those levels, and so it's definitely a much different environment at this time than it was this time a year ago.
Good deal. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Anybody stick out in August for you there?
Well, again, we'll be able to tell a lot more here within the next week or so when we can go out, and we've got a scrimmage next week against Garces. We've been doing a lot of work, one-on-ones and things out at practice. But we've just kind of easing our way into the pads right now, and it's our first week that we've been in gear. And so some of that stuff is still wait to be seen. We've got a lot of different guys who are cycling through, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens when we get out there in a game situation.
It's a wait-and-see type year, I think, out there.
It's
a little bit. Maybe you'll have a real good team. I'm looking at last year, and it seemed like, and this may be partly injuries, like you said, and partly opponents, but it seemed like in the games you had it, and when you didn't, you didn't. I mean, there are not a whole lot of close games in there. You were taking care of teams, or they were taking care of you. Is that a consistency thing, or is that more game by game, hey, we're playing a real good team that week, or we had an injury that week or something like that?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We came out, we lost really a close game to North early in the year, and then went on and had a few wins in our preseason, in our pre-league. We kind of, South got after us a little bit. That was one of those games that really didn't go very well. And then we came out and we started league, and we opened with West High last year. And
that was a close game.
And we lost it in overtime. And at that game, we had a couple of injuries. Well, our big lineman who we were talking about earlier. Ty got hurt in that game.
Love that game.
And we kind of lost some momentum, you know. And then we had to go on the road to play a very tough Hatchby team. And
things in that
quite
league,
honestly, when it started going, you know, things weren't going our way, then, you know, it made the league to be very tough with the injuries and everything else.
Let's talk about that league. It's East High is probably as geographically the outlier in that league. You guys are on the east side of town. I guess Golden Valley technically is on the east side of town as well, but you don't get a lot of breaks. It's a true Division II type league.
Oh, it is. And, you know, obviously right now everyone's chasing Ridgeview.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the class of the league, and we know that. But, you know what, you look around the league, I think the league is going to be a very, very competitive league this year. And I think that you've got to have a lot of good players at a lot of the schools. And but again, you've got Ridgeview who kind of stands out amongst everybody else. But I think you're going to have a lot of very good competitive football games within the league this year.
David, you've been around long enough, and being on the east side of town with you and Michael at Highland and David Coldiron out at Miramonte, you guys are all within, and Jason even at Foothill, you guys are all within your first 3 years at your programs. What do the four of you need to do to build up football on the east side to get it back to where it used to be? I understand the west side and the new schools and Ridgeview and Independence are kind of pulling the kids in different directions. But what do you guys need to do to get football back to the east side that it used to be when East was a powerhouse, when Foothill was a powerhouse? Is there a chance for that again?
Oh, I think so. Like you said, you mentioned all those coaches, great young coaches. I guess I'm kind of the old guy in that group. But
what are you talking about? You're great young coach David Fanucchi.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But you know what? Those are some outstanding coaches, and I know they've brought a lot of energy and great commitment and a lot of knowledge into their programs. You know, you look at the development. I think that the thing that's been happening over the past few years, and I know it's important for us, the development of the Golden Empire programs and those youth programs as well, I think go a long way in helping with your program. You know, for years, you know, when those leagues first began, the West Side schools kind of dominated in those youth programs, and they had some outstanding players. And I just think it's good that we can get football starting to play at the younger and younger levels, so these kids get excited about playing.
I know that's something your predecessor at East, Dave Thorpe, talked about as well. Is the ball rolling in that direction in the Golden Empire leagues and Jack Frost leagues as far as East High?
Yes, they are. You know, our Sabre program has taken off in the last 2 years, and it's really going to be a big benefit for us.
Good deal. Tell us a couple of names, skill position guys. Let's go there. Who we don't really know their names now, but we may by, say, Halloween. I mean, I know you mentioned a running back. I think that may be where you're going.
Well, yeah, you know, Shondell Ross, like I said, I think that you look at some of the guys who were big playmakers for the JVs last year that we're hoping can come in and make a splash for us as well. There was Raymond Marquez, who one of the fastest players in our program, was in the Valley meet and for running the 100-meter. Out at our wideout positions, Garrett Sherman and Alan Lopez are a couple of guys who can go out and make plays for us out there as well. So those guys, along with Julian Herrera at quarterback, you know, we hope that they're going to be the guys that we're going to be hanging up a lot of stats on.
Sure.
But it's going to come down to up front, and we've got to develop some young guys on our offensive line.
With such a young team, I know you don't like to think like this, but if things go south at some point because of injuries or because of inexperience, how do you treat that? You're a veteran coach. You've been around teams like that. How do you keep morale to the point where, hey, let's hold it together, let's gain some experience, even if we're not winning every game, you know, we can still grow into a team that does win games?
You know, we've just got to keep on top of these guys to stay the course and to just keep working hard every day. And whether that was in January or it's now or it's 3 months from now, we've just got to develop that consistency and that every day of coming out and understanding the value of work that day, and that we're trying to be a better team today than we were yesterday, and tomorrow we need to be better than we are today. And if we can just keep that mentality and keep trying to move forward every day, then regardless of what's happening around us, that's the key, is we have to try and block that out and just focus on us and not focus on our opponent necessarily, but on us and how much better can we be today than yesterday, and keep that mentality.
I need that bell. Ding. You know,
we were talking
about how every coach has that mentality. I think good coaches have that mentality where it has to be a day-by-day thing. It can't be, you know, how are we going to do against Foothill in week 4. I mean, you can't.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't put your schedule up and say that's a win. That's not going to be a win. Yeah, you know, it's just right now, and especially right now, and it's August. I know games are right around the corner, but still, it's August. We just got into gear this week, and there's still so many unanswered questions. It's hard to project out like that.
Having said that, let's bring East High's schedule up, everybody. I'm just kidding. That's where I was going to go anyway. But you don't have that week 0 game, which for a young team, I think probably a good thing for you.
Right.
You get that extra week. North High is the opener. Miramonte, a team that they think they've got a lot of momentum. They broke a 21-game losing streak the last week of last year,
right.
so they're going to be flying high in there. A couple of tough road games, Highland and South. And then we talk about that league. That's West's 50-year anniversary game. I know you guys had your 75-year anniversary game on a Saturday a few years ago, so it's interesting that you're the opponent there. Really 3 road games in a row to start that league season. That's tough.
It is tough, and one of them is we're back on the road again. If you notice in our schedule, we only have 4 home games. And we're going back up to Tehachapi where we had to go last year. And that was when East High had their 75th anniversary game a couple of years ago. They had worked it out that Tehachapi had come 2 years in a row to play in that game. And so we're back up there. We're balancing that back out. And so, yeah, that creates a heck of a start of our league right there on the road for 3.
That league, too, and you mentioned Ridgeview, but my gosh, you've just got solid programs up and down. I know West High was slightly down last year, but that's almost because somebody has to be. I mean,
right.
Somebody's got to finish last.
Yeah, and unfortunately it was us last year. But you know what? But like I said, every one of those teams has some great players on them. And, and I think that anybody on that schedule on any Friday night can challenge Ridgeview. And so but there's no doubt Ridgeview is the most complete team in our league right now. And but you've got a lot of good players in this league, and I think, like I said earlier, I think there's going to be a lot of good games throughout this league.
And you've been around quite a while, and like I mentioned, different schools and different leagues. Bakersfield High, not Bakersfield High, but high school football in Bakersfield is at a really high level right now. It's in a good place. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I agree. I think that we've got a number of schools out there, and it's changed a lot in my 28 years of coaching. I've seen a lot of schools open.
It spreads the talent pool a little bit.
It spreads the talent pool out a little bit, but it also gives a lot of other young men an opportunity to come and play. And so we've got a lot of great coaches here in town that are committed and are doing great things with their program. And so, yeah, I think that Bakersfield, Kern County football right now is really strong.
That's David Fanucchi. He's the East Bakersfield High School head coach, and we appreciate you joining us. Good luck in 2015,
Thank
Coach.
you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. Ricky Ishida of Shafter. We're going to dip into the SSL here. Ricky Ishida of Shafter, and then Edgar Maras of Arvin, the next 2 guests here on the BVarsity Live Super Show. Be right back.